So next topic is potassium permanganate. So potassium permanganate is coming under an antimicrobial agent. Synonym of potassium permanganate is chameleon mineral and Condy's crystal. So what is the color of potassium permanganate? It is purple in color. So usually it occurs in the form of slender, dark purple color monoclinic prisms almost opaque by transmitted light, having a blue metallic luster by reflected light. So it is reduced by alcohol. It is odorless. It is having sweet taste. So the chemical formula of potassium permanganate is KMnO4. Then potassium permanganate is soluble in 15 ml of water, acetic acid and methanol. Next we are going to discuss about the preparation of potassium permanganate. So potassium permanganate is prepared by reacting potassium hydroxide with manganese dioxide in presence of potassium chloride. We can get potassium manganate plus potassium chloride and water. Then in the second step, the prepared potassium manganate is converted to potassium permanganate by either of the three methods. First method, by passing carbon dioxide. So potassium manganate, when treated with carbon dioxide, we can get potassium permanganate, manganese dioxide and potassium carbonate. Then second method, by passing chlorine gas. So potassium permanganate, when react with chlorine, we can get potassium permanganate and 2KCl. Potassium manganate react with chlorine gas, we can get potassium permanganate plus 2KCl. Then third method, by electrolysis, the prepared potassium manganate, when electrolyzed in the presence of water, we can get potassium permanganate plus 2KOH plus H2. This is the method of preparation. 6KOH plus 3MnO2 plus KClO3 gives K2MnO4 plus KCl plus 3H2O. Then in the second step, the K2MnO4 is treated with either carbon dioxide, chlorine or by electrolysis we can get potassium permanganate. Next we are going to discuss about the chemical property of potassium permanganate. So mainly it acts as a powerful oxidizing agent when dry and also in solution. So explosions may occur when it comes in contact with organic and readily oxidizable material like charcoal. So when mixed with glycerin, it burns. So next we are going to discuss about some examples for oxidizing property of potassium permanganate. So for example, potassium permanganate, when treated with sulfuric acid or in presence of any acidic medium, it can liberate 5 molecules of nascent oxygen. 2KMnO4 plus 3H2SO4 gives K2SO4 plus MnSO4 plus 3H2O plus 5O. Then, when potassium permanganate reacts in the presence of alkaline or neutral solution, it will liberate 3 molecules of nascent oxygen, 2MnO2 plus 2KOH plus 3O. So it is that bracket indicate the molecular form of oxygen. So nascent oxygen, it is in molecular form and it is the most powerful oxidizing agent. So it is the most active form of oxygen. Then second one, hydrogen peroxide decolorizes acidified potassium permanganate. So 2 KMnO4 plus 3 H2SO4 plus 5 H2O2 gives K2SO4 plus 2 MnSO4 plus 5O plus 8 H2O. So hydrogen peroxide declarizes potassium permanganate in the presence of acidic medium. It also liberates 5 molecules of nascent oxygen. Then next example, it declarized by oxalic acid. So potassium permanganate when react with oxalic acid in the presence of acidic medium, it converted to K2SO4 plus MnSO4 plus 18H2O plus 10 CO2. Then next is the heating property of potassium permanganate. So potassium permanganate when heated at 240 degrees centigrade, it converted to potassium manganate, black colored potassium manganate plus MnO2 plus O2. Then in the second step, the black colored potassium manganate hydrolyzes. It will give potassium permanganate plus manganese dioxide plus 4KOH. So when potassium permanganate heated, we can get potassium manganate. Then potassium manganate again hydrolyzes. We can get potassium permanganate. Okay. Then next one, potassium permanganate treated with potassium iodide in the presence of acidified medium like sulfuric acid. Potassium iodide oxidized to get iodine. 6K2SO4 plus 2MnSO4 plus 5I2 plus 8H2O. So when potassium permanganate treated with potassium iodide in presence of acidic medium, potassium iodide oxidizes to give iodine. The next example, when potassium permanganate react with ferrous sulfate in presence of acidic medium like H2SO4, we can get ferric sulfate. So ferrous sulfate oxidizes to ferric sulfate. 2 KMnO4 plus 10 FeSO4 plus 8 H2SO4 gives K2SO4 plus 2 MnSO4 plus 5 Fe2SO4 thrice plus 8 H2O. It is official in IP. So next we are going to discuss about the test for identification of potassium permanganate. So sample plus water plus sulfuric acid heated at 70 degrees centigrade, it is declarized by hydrogen peroxide. Sample plus H2SO4 plus water heated, then treated with H2O2, the potassium permanganate declarized by hydrogen peroxide. Then second one, when sample heated, it evolves oxygen and leaves a black residue, and again add water, we can get potassium hydroxide. Then standard, it contains not less than 99% and not more than 100.5% of potassium permanganate. Then next is the test for purity. So limit test for chloride, limit test for sulfate, water insoluble matter, then clarity and color of the solution. So these are the tests for purity for potassium permanganate. So next we are going to discuss about the assay of potassium permanganate. It is assayed by iodometric titration method. So assay is based on the oxidizing action of potassium permanganate on potassium iodide, which oxidizes to iodine. So the liberated iodine is titrated with sodium thiosulfate solution using starch as an indicator towards the end of the titration. So an accurately weighed quantity dissolved in water add solid potassium iodide plus 2 mole H2SO4, 2 molar H2SO4 and titrated with 0.1 molar sodium thiosulfate using start solution as indicator. So here 2 KMnO4 plus 10 Ki plus 8 H2SO4 gives 6 K2SO4 plus 2 MnSO4 plus 5 I2 plus 8 H2O. Then the liberated iodine titrated with sodium thiosulfate, we can give sodium tetracyanate plus 2 NaI, Na2S4O6 plus 2 NaI. So that is the method of assay of potassium permanganate, assayed by the iodometric titration based on the oxidizing action of the potassium permanganate on potassium iodide in presence of sulfuric acid. Then iodine liberated. Then the liberated iodine titrated with sodium thiosulfate solution using starch as an indicator towards the end of the titration. So that is the method of assay of potassium permanganate. The next is the storage. It should be stored in a well closed container. So next we are going to discuss about the uses of potassium permanganate. So it is having socio-economic importance. Mainly it is used in the water treatment, purification of water. Then it is used as a disinfectant and germicide. So a very dilute solution of potassium permanganate is used for washing wounds. It is used as an oxidizing agent in laboratory and industry. It is used for purifying water of stinking wells. Then it is used in the volumetric estimation of ferrous salt, oxalic acid and oxalate. So it is used as an anti-infective or disinfectant. Then it action is due to evolution of oxygen, which oxidizes the bacterial protein and kill them. So mainly used in mouthwashes and gargle.